change issue. I go back to my remarks in Limba, January 2011, this year. Essentially, what did I say? Now, that the older generation will recede into history and that a younger generation will advance into history is a mathematical and scientific fact. There is no debate about that. Physically, there is a limit to one's lifespan. So no matter how good intention one is, definitely you reach a point you have to exit. Take an honorable exit from mortality into immortality and rest in the bosom of Abraham. Whether it's in the bosom of Abraham or in the bosom of Lucifer, we don't know, but we assume that you rest in the bosom of Abraham. Yeah, that will have to happen. So, but if you look at what the demographers have said about Liberians and our lifespan, last time, a few years ago, I'm told that typical the lifespan, life expectancy of a Liberian was about 47 years. And now I think we've gone a little bit above 50, 51, 52. So it means that once you hit 40, 45, technically you enter injury time. Technically entering injury time. But there are some contradictions in Liberian society that people in injury time, sometimes the people consider them as youth. You know, it reminds me of what Comrade Ellis Momobafi told me about when he was president of the Mana River Youth Parliament. When the Guineans youth, he asked for the Guineans youth when they come here, 55, 65. Those were the colleagues. You are just going to take it, but when he met his counterparts, the Guinean youth, 55. We don't want to do like Guinean youth stuff. So, but the Liberian, the people say around 50, we should be dying. Although as economic standard improve, the life expectancy is expected to improve. So, generational change needs to be situated in that debate. There are some certain scientific realities. The old will have to phase out, and the young will have to get old, and then get injury time, and then recede. Now, if you check Liberian history, forget about presidency or whatever. The age of cabinet ministers. You know, people call me a young minister. I like that. But sometimes I don't like it. The reason is, I don't like to put a harp on it too much. Because the more they stress on that, the more they are giving a subtle message that the young people, it is an anomaly for a quote-unquote 42-year-old man to be a minister of foreign affairs. That it is a fluke, it is a stroke of luck, it is a lightning, it is an aberration that one man is in these what we call divine occurrences happen maybe once in every 1,000 years. People start to accept that. Definitely will be closing indirectly the doors of opportunity for our young people, because that's not true. That's not true. We know that the war arrested the progress of young people. We know that. I told you I spent 10 years pursuing a four-year degree. I didn't fail course. I want to be like the young comrades of today. They go to LU today, after 4 years they can graduate. I spent 10 years. for decades. So our prophet was arrested. The locusts ate, enough of our years. For us, if you check Liberian history, and you find out in the 70s and in the 80s, there were people in their 20s and were ministers. And to imagine today that a 26-year-old man or 28-year-old man is made Minister of Commerce, what would be the reaction? What would be the reaction? The reaction would be that of an anomaly, an aberration. And sometimes the pain will be that it's not the old generation that will react so negatively. It will be the young generation that will react so negatively to a 26-year-old man of today with all the competence being given that opportunity. When in the 70s, in the 60s, and those things happen. Those things happen. You should ask about one William E. Dennis, how old he was when he became minister. You should ask about one Charles Clark, how old he was when he became minister. You should also ask about one Florence Chenoweth, how old she was when she became minister. You should ask about one Dr. H. Berman Famule, how old he was when he became Minister of Education. And let me say this, I am not the youngest Minister of Foreign Affairs. I am not. If I'm 10 years older than some of the individuals who became Minister of Foreign Affairs. You should ask, how old was G. Bacchus Matthews when he became Minister of Foreign Affairs? I'm practically now 10 years older. 10 years older. But I appear young to our generation. Just think about a 32-year-old person made Minister of Foreign Affairs in this day and age. What would be the reaction? I'm not talking about it from the old generation. I'm talking about from our generation. What would be the reaction? Bacchus and others were young. They were competent in their ways. How old was Ely Salibé, a former boss man at the central bank? I will perpetually be grateful to him because he had a vision of sending young people to school through that. I went to school and can come back and contribute to my country. Very young in the 20s, president of LBDI. So when you look at what happened in the past, and you look at today, and you see a lot of people in their 40s accepting that they are so young for opportunities. And when the demographic age is saying that they're in injury time, you know that we're in a crisis. You know that we're in a crisis. So it is not just an issue of the presidency, please. Because everything now, the sexiest topic is the presidency. No. It's an issue of a generation. Who becomes a director? Who becomes an assistant minister or deputy minister? So when you go back, and I will give you some. The issue of generational change is the issue of Liberia becoming normal again. The past election, 2011, our two leading candidates, Madam Ellie Johnson is the leader of the Unity Party, 73 years. Councillor Ambassador Winston Tubman of the Congress for Democratic Change, 71 or 70. Let me be a little bit, for the sake of argument, I'll just say 70. But, how do you call it? 3 schools and 10. Those guys that know the Bible, 3 schools and 10. They are married, biblically. Right. They are married, biblically. They are blessed people. Because whenever you reach 3 schools and 10, biblically, you are blessed. We Christians, that's what we pray for. These people reach that. But you check in Liberian history and check for the ages of stand-up bearers of the past. You'll find out the average age of those stand-up bearers was in the 40s. check. Taken from J.J. Roberts' time. So 2011, what you saw was not the normal Liberia. It was the abnormal Liberia as a result of all the hiccups that came from our war and what have you. The arrest of the progress of our young people. So it becomes, what was abnormal started becoming normal. Now, if you check, if I even said, how many persons know that their first president, J.J. Roberts, was 38 years old when he became president? J.J. Roberts was 38 years old. Do you know the age of Tubman? Do you know that in 1985, when we had all those candidates, the oldest person that was running was a guy called Jackson F. Doe, and his age was just 51. The youngest guy was 35, 34, and there's a reason why I'm saying 35, 34. The historians and the politicians can dissect what I mean by that, you know, at the borderline, but there were issues. He became the winner. The others, Dion Cassidy and others were in the early 40s or whatever, Gabriel William Collette. But that was 1985. Today, people are going to school now. The country is getting normal. Unlike some of us that graduated from college almost at the age of 30, I now see young people at the age of 22 graduating from college. That is the normal age. 22, 23, 24. We were hitting 30. Not because we failed in course. Yeah? So everything is getting normal. See the people that come from high school, we went back to the normal age. So when we're talking about generational change, it is an ineffective, inescapable reality of history. It will happen. No matter whether we like it or not, it will happen. But then, it is not for any young person to go and start saying, generational change, so that's our time. No. It doesn't mean now that we talk about generational change. We know we from Lofa, when you're eating with an old man, you have to put your hand on the pan. Constantly. You cannot take meat from the old man's side. You cannot. Generational change doesn't mean now, today, we have the empowerment to jump and take meat from the old man's side of the bowl. That rudeness, a generational rudeness. It's not generational change. No. Our tradition and what have you, we need to respect it. The elders are here. The age has given them a lot of wisdom that we need. It is not for us to wake up today and say, look, we get rid of all of you people. We pack you up, we put you in the sea, and we don't need you again. Because this is our time. No. If we did that, we engage, we will proceed into generational chaos. The young of today must work with the old of today so that the quote-unquote generational change can be seamless, so that we don't have generational rupture. We don't have it. Because the peace and stability of this country requires that we deal with the old so that the old have an honorable exit and the young have an honorable entry. So basically, that was the concept of generational change. It's beyond just presidency. It has to do with various positions across government and in the private sector. We need more young people to man our private sector, our banks. I'll be happy today. At least we have a young man as president of the Liberia Bank for Development and Investment. Comrade John B.S. Davis, a classmate of Comrade Davis. He too started with Comrade Davis, and the mosquito bit us jointly. Jointly. He feels in power. If there's any doubt in his mind about his intellectual capacity, the fact that the John Davis he know and he sat with is at a LBDI, this man has hope. So part of it is the young of today, whether it's in government or whatever, Our duty is to give hope to our generation. You can make it this marathon. Don't please get tired so soon. Now, the generational change stuff is deep, it's long, and I can give you one whole book on it. There's not intention here. So this much for generational change. Let me go to intergenerational equity. Intergenerational equity. Now, intergenerational equity, the best analogy I gave is we go back to the London Olympics. The relay run. So relay run, assuming Liberia is in a relay run of other countries. In a relay run, there's a baton. People are runners are stationed at various parts of the track. You run your part, you give it to the other guy, he takes it and runs and gives it to the other guy until you guys end the race. So it is not an individualistic competition. It has to do with teamwork. Everybody must run his part well. One man runs his part very well and another man runs his part very horribly. The team cannot win. The team cannot win. Intergenerational equity is essentially saying, look, we have a country. A country is competing with other countries for development, for progress, and what have you. Now, each generation, we have to turn the baton to a future generation. The thing is, once this generation or generation takes the baton, how fast is it running? Is it going to make it difficult for us as a country to win the race of development, of progress, peace, stability? Or based on how a particular generation runs, we will have it easier. Now, to define the analogy better, think about generation. I will just bring these political leaders just to create clarity. J.J. Roberts generation. They go on and on, you talk about the Tubman generation. They go on, they can talk about the Ellen Johnson generation. But the only clarity I will make is that this generational stuff involves people even out of government. It's not just a governmental thing. Now, if you have the baton, this generation, and this generation has opportunities. The issue is, with all the opportunities you have, how well did you run? How well did you run in this relay run? If you have opportunities such as, and I will raise some issues. But for us, according to our opportunity set has increased. We're talking now, I mean, every topic here in Liberia, whatever going, you're talking about oil. About opportunity our generation has gotten. When J.J. Roberts was there, they didn't know about iron ore. When Tubman came there, boom! About open the iron ore. That was an opportunity that opened for the Tubman generation. At the time they said, our growth rate was one of the highest in the world. I think only second to Japan or whatever. You heard about the bombing hills and all. At the end of the day, what happened? It transformed into a bombing hole. You heard about that? Now, our generation has its own opportunities and its own challenges. How well do you run based on the opportunities you have? If we as this generation runs faster, we make it easier for the future generation. And if you make it easier for the future generation, you have effected what we call intergenerational equity. We need fairness, justice. It's that.